Have you ever felt like your entire life was designed to keep you distracted? Like every decision you've made, every belief you hold, and even the way you see yourself might not have been yours to begin with? From the moment you were born, a hidden system has been shaping your reality, keeping you trapped in an illusion so convincing you never even thought to question it. But now, something is shifting. You're here listening to these words because you're starting to see the cracks in the illusion. You're waking up. For centuries, prophets, mystics, and enlightened minds have tried to warn us. They spoke in riddles, parables, and hidden codes. Messages powerful enough to shatter the illusion, but only for those who were ready to hear them. The truth they carried was never meant for the masses. It was never meant for those still asleep. It was meant for the ones who could see beyond the veil. And if these words have found you now, it's because your life is about to change forever. They don't want you to know this, but reality isn't something that happens to you. It's something you shape. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every emotion you allow to take root, it's all part of a grand mechanism, a hidden science that determines the course of your life. What if the struggles you've endured, the endless cycles of stress, fear, and doubt, were never a reflection of who you are, but rather the result of a program that was never designed for you to win? The prophets understood this. They knew that the world was not what it seemed, that there was an invisible force keeping people trapped in a prison they couldn't see. And now, after generations of silence, this knowledge is resurfacing, because the time has come for you to remember who you really are. But there's a choice. You can dismiss this, close this message, and return to the life you've always known. Or you can listen, really listen, and start to see what was hidden from you all along, because once you see it, you can never unsee it. For most of your life you've been told what to believe, not directly, not in a way that was obvious, but through subtle conditioning, through rules passed down from generation to generation, through a system that was never built for your freedom. You were handed a name, a set of expectations, a blueprint for how life is supposed to be lived. Go to school, get a job, pay your bills, follow the rules, trust the system, work until you die, and through it all never once ask the question, who decided this for me? This is the illusion that has kept humanity asleep for centuries. The prophets knew this, they saw through it, and they left behind messages, fragments of truth hidden in scripture, mysticism, and ancient texts. Not just to inspire, but to wake people up, to remind them that reality is not what it seems, that the world you see with your eyes is not the full story, that there is something more, something deeper, something infinitely more powerful waiting just beyond the veil of conditioned perception. Think about it. Have you ever felt like something was off? Like there was an unseen force pulling the strings, guiding the course of your life in ways you couldn't quite explain? You weren't imagining it. The structure of reality itself is designed to keep you in a loop of survival, a loop of fear, a loop of scarcity. It convinces you that you are powerless, that things are the way they are, and nothing can be changed. That suffering is normal, but what if that was the biggest lie of all? Every major spiritual teacher, from Jesus to Buddha to Hermes Trismegistus, spoke of a hidden power that lies within, a force so great that it can shape worlds, not just in a metaphorical sense, but in a very real, tangible way. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." Buddha taught that reality is shaped by the mind. Hermes declared, "As above, so below, as within, so without." These were not just poetic words. They were instructions, a coded message meant for those who were ready to break free. Because here is the truth they never wanted you to know. The external world is nothing more than a reflection of the internal one. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. They don't just influence reality, they create it. Science is only just beginning to catch up to what the mystics have always known. Quantum physics has proven that observation alone can alter the behavior of subatomic particles, meaning that consciousness itself has a direct impact on the fabric of existence. Reality is not fixed, it is fluid. It is shaped by the energy you emit, by the frequency you hold, by the beliefs you carry. And yet for centuries this knowledge has been hidden, suppressed, ridiculed. Why? Because a world of people who understand this truth is a world of people who cannot be controlled. If you knew, truly knew, that your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs were actively shaping the world around you, would you ever allow yourself to be ruled by fear again? Would you continue to follow a system that thrives on your ignorance? Would you still accept limitation as reality? Or would you begin to rewrite the script of your own life? This is what the prophets understood. This is what they tried to teach. And yet, their messages were twisted, diluted, turned into dogma and doctrine to keep people from realizing the truth, that you are not meant to obey reality, you are meant to create it. But how do you break free? How do you step outside the illusion and begin to reclaim your power? The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you're still blind to. You must begin to see the ways in which you have been conditioned, the programs that have been running in your subconscious mind without your consent. These programs are not yours. They were given to you, implanted through media, education, authority figures, and generations of unconscious repetition. They tell you what is possible, what is impossible, what is right, what is wrong, what you should want, what you should fear. They shape your perception so completely that you mistake them for your own thoughts. But they are not. And the moment you recognize this, you take back the first piece of your power. Because here's the reality. Nothing outside of you has control over you unless you believe it does. The moment you decide otherwise, the illusion begins to crack. This is why belief is the most powerful force in existence. It is not just a passive state of mind. It is the mechanism by which reality itself is structured. If you believe you are powerless, you will be. If you believe you are limitless, you will be. The universe does not argue with you. It simply reflects back what you hold to be true. This is why the prophets spoke so often of faith, not as blind trust in an external deity, but as the key to unlocking the deeper nature of reality. Faith is not about hoping something is true. It is about knowing it is true, even before it manifests in the physical world. This is the real secret behind miracles, behind manifestation, behind every spiritual teaching that has ever pointed to a greater reality beyond what we can see. And yet, most people never learn to wield this power. They remain trapped in doubt, fear, and limitation because that is what they have been taught to accept. But that does not have to be your fate. You are hearing this now because something within you is ready to wake up. You would not be here otherwise. You would not feel that deep, undeniable pull towards something greater if you were not meant to step into it. So, the question is, will you? Will you allow yourself to see beyond the illusion? Will you begin to unlearn what you have been taught and replace it with something far more powerful? Because the moment you decide to, everything changes. You are not here to suffer. You are not here to be controlled. You are here to awaken, to remember, to step into the truth that has been hidden from you for too long. The choice is yours. The greatest lie ever told is that you are small, that you are powerless, that your existence is nothing more than a random event in an indifferent universe. But deep down you know that isn't true. You have felt it before. The unshakable sense that there is something more, that life is not as mechanical as they want you to believe, that your thoughts, your emotions, your very presence must hold more significance than you've been led to understand. That feeling isn't an illusion. It's the whisper of truth breaking through the conditioning. It's the echo of something ancient, something forgotten, something sacred. And here's what they never wanted you to realize. The prophets, the enlightened ones, the visionaries of old, they all saw through the illusion. They all understood the secret. Reality is not solid. It is not fixed. It is shaped by consciousness itself. And the reason you have been kept from this knowledge is simple. Because if you knew, truly knew, the power that rests inside you, the entire structure of control would collapse overnight. Think about it. What keeps people in line? Fear, scarcity, the belief that they are powerless. These are the chains that bind humanity to a life of servitude. You have been taught to believe in limitations that do not exist. You have been taught that money is scarce, that happiness must be earned, that success is a rare privilege rather than a natural state of being. You have been taught to worship struggle, to equate suffering with virtue, to believe that fulfillment is something you must chase instead of something you can generate from within. But what if all of that was a deception? What if the only thing standing between you and a life beyond your wildest dreams was the simple act of believing in its possibility? The truth is, reality bends to your will more than you've ever been told. Your mind is not just a receiver of information, it is a transmitter of energy, a force capable of influencing the world around you. When you hold a belief, when you reinforce it with emotion, when you visualize it so clearly that it feels real before it even manifests, you are creating, you are programming the quantum field itself to reflect that belief back to you in physical form. This is why the prophets spoke in terms of faith. This is why Jesus said, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours." This is why Buddha taught that all that we are is the result of what we have thought. They were not speaking in metaphors. They were revealing the mechanics of reality itself. But here's where most people go wrong. They hear about these principles and they dismiss them as wishful thinking. They try once, twice, maybe 3 times, and when the world does not instantly shift before their eyes, they return to doubt, they return to fear, and in doing so, they reinforce the very limitations they were trying to escape. You must understand, faith is not a fleeting hope. It is an unshakable knowing. It is a certainty so strong that no external evidence can shake it. This is why miracles only happen for those who truly expect them, because reality, as fluid as it is, cannot deliver what you do not believe is possible. Look around you. Every structure, every invention, every breakthrough in human history began as a thought in someone's mind. The world you see was first imagined before it was built. And yet, you have been taught to believe that your own thoughts hold no power, that the very thing that has shaped civilizations, created empires, and transformed lives somehow does not apply to you. It is time to wake up. You have always been shaping reality. You just didn't realize it. Every fear you clung to, every doubt you nurtured, every limitation you accepted, it all became real because you allowed it to be. But now you have a choice. You can continue to live within the boundaries of the old paradigm, or you can step into something greater. You can begin to shift your focus, to direct your thoughts with precision, to align yourself with a higher frequency of belief, and in doing so, watch as reality itself begins to rearrange in your favor. Because here is the secret they never wanted you to know. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. You do not attract what you desire, you attract what you believe yourself to be. If you see yourself as struggling, unworthy, limited, that is the reality you will continue to experience. But the moment you shift, the moment you step into the identity of someone who is abundant, powerful, and free, the entire structure of your life begins to shift with you. This is not magic, it is law. The prophets knew it, the mystics lived by it, and now the question is, will you? You see, breaking free is not about fighting the system. It is not about waging war against external forces. It is about stepping so fully into your power that the system can no longer touch you. The world does not change when you push against it. It changes when you rise above it. When you no longer vibrate at the frequency of control, limitation, and fear. When you operate from a higher state of consciousness, the lower realities cease to affect you. You become untouchable. This is why the enlightened ones always walked in peace. They did not resist the world. They transcended it. They mastered their inner reality so completely that the outer world had no choice but to reflect that mastery back to them. So now, it is your turn. Will you continue to live by the old script, the one that tells you what you can't do, what you should fear, what you must accept, or will you begin to rewrite it? The first step is simple, yet profound. Become aware of your thoughts. Start to notice what you accept as truth. Start to question the beliefs you have carried for so long without realizing they were never yours to begin with. Every time a limitation arises in your mind, ask yourself, Who told me this? Where did this belief come from? And do I still choose to accept it? Because the moment you question the program, it begins to break. And the moment it breaks, you are free. The prophets were not just teachers, they were revolutionaries. They came to dismantle the illusions that kept humanity enslaved. And now their message has reached you, not by chance but by alignment, because you are ready. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? The moment you begin to see the illusion for what it is, everything starts to shift. It's like waking up in the middle of a dream and realizing you were never just a character in the story, you were the dreamer all along. And now you have a choice. You can continue playing by the rules of a reality designed to keep you small, or you can step into the truth of who you really are. But be warned, once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. This is where the real transformation begins, not in theory, not in wishful thinking, but in action, in the way you begin to move through the world differently. Because once you understand that your thoughts shape reality, that your beliefs construct the framework of your life, you can no longer afford to entertain doubt. You can no longer afford to engage in self-sabotage. Every thought, every emotion, every belief becomes a brushstroke in the masterpiece that is your life. The prophets knew this. That's why they didn't just teach, they embodied their teachings. Jesus walked on water, not because he had supernatural abilities that no one else possessed, but because he understood that reality itself was an extension of consciousness. Buddha reached enlightenment, not because he was different from you, but because he let go of every illusion that bound him to suffering. They weren't here to be worshipped, they were here to show you what you are capable of. But here's where most people fail. They hear these truths, they feel the resonance of them deep in their soul, and yet they hesitate. They fall back into old patterns, into doubt, into fear. Why? Because the illusion is comfortable, it's familiar, and the ego, the part of you that has been conditioned by this world, will do anything to keep you from breaking free. It will tell you that this is nonsense, that you're not powerful, that your circumstances are beyond your control. And yet, deep down, you know that's not true. If it were, you wouldn't feel that pull, that inner knowing that refuses to be silenced, that whisper that tells you that you were meant for more, that you are not just some insignificant being floating through existence, but a creator, a force of nature, a being of limitless potential. So the real question is, are you ready to step into that? Because once you do, the world will start testing you, not to punish you, but to see if you are truly ready. The moment you begin to shift, to align with a higher reality, the old patterns will try to pull you back in. People around you might not understand. The structures you relied on might begin to crumble. Your comfort zone will be shattered. And that is where most people retreat. But not you, not this time. Because now you understand. The resistance you face is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are breaking free. It is the old reality struggling to hold on, but it cannot stop you unless you let it. This is why faith is the most powerful force in the universe. Not faith in an external God who may or may not answer your prayers, but faith in yourself, in your ability to shape reality, in your ability to walk in the footsteps of the prophets, not as a follower, but as an equal. The greatest secret of all is this: you are not separate from the divine. You never have been. The world has convinced you that divinity is something outside of you, something you must seek, something you must earn. But the truth is, you are it. You always have been. And the moment you stop searching for answers outside of yourself and begin to turn inward, you will see what was hidden from you all along. This is what it means to awaken. Not to simply know the truth, but to live it, to walk through this world with an unshakable certainty that you are the creator of your own experience, to no longer react to life but to command it, to no longer be a victim of circumstance but a master of energy. So how do you begin? How do you take this knowledge and turn it into something tangible? The first step is to deprogram your mind. You must start questioning everything you've been taught, every belief you've accepted without thinking, every limitation you've ever placed on yourself. Because most of what you believe isn't even yours. It was given to you by your parents, by society, by a world that profits off your ignorance. Start small. Observe your thoughts. When a limiting belief arises, don't just accept it. Challenge it. Ask yourself, where did this come from? Who told me this was true? And do I still choose to believe it? Because here's the truth. A belief is only as real as the power you give it. The moment you decide that something no longer serves you, it begins to lose its grip, and as you shed the old, you make space for something new. The second step is to take control of your vibration. Everything in this universe operates on frequency. Your thoughts have a frequency, your emotions have a frequency, the way you feel about yourself radiates outward and shapes the reality that mirrors back to you. If you constantly live in fear, doubt, and scarcity, you will attract experiences that reinforce those emotions. But if you begin to shift, if you begin to align yourself with confidence, abundance, and love, you will find that the world starts reflecting that back to you as well. This is why the law of attraction works, but not in the way most people think. It is not about simply thinking positive thoughts and hoping for the best. It is about becoming the energy of what you desire, because the universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your state of being. And the third step? Take action as the person you are becoming. This is where most people get stuck. They do the inner work, they shift their beliefs, but then they hesitate when it's time to move. They wait for permission, for signs, for certainty. But the truth is, the only way to step into your power is to start acting like the version of yourself that already has what you seek. If you want to be confident, move like someone who is confident. If you want to be abundant, make decisions from the mindset of someone who already knows they are abundant. If you want to be free, stop waiting for freedom and start embodying it. Because here's the final truth. You are already everything you are seeking. You do not need to become anything. You only need to remember who you already are. And when you do, when you truly step into that knowing, nothing will ever be the same again. So now, the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop living by the rules of a reality designed to keep you asleep? Are you ready to step into the world as the creator rather than the victim? Are you ready to break free from the illusion and step into the limitless potential that has always been waiting for you? Because the choice is yours. It always has been. Something within you has been stirring. You've felt it for a while now. That undeniable sense that you were meant for more. That the life you've been living, the limitations you've accepted, the beliefs you've carried, they were never truly yours. They were given to you, programmed into you, conditioned so deeply that for years you never even thought to question them. But now, the illusion is shattering. You are remembering, and with that remembrance comes power. Because here is the greatest truth of all. No one is coming to save you. No prophet, no teacher, no system, no external force. Because you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to awaken, to see that the same divine force that spoke through Jesus, through Buddha, through every enlightened master throughout history, it lives within you. It has always lived within you. And the only thing standing between you and the full realization of your power is your willingness to claim it. But most people never do. Most people will hear words like these, feel the truth of them in their bones, and yet return to the life they've always known. Not because they lack the ability to change, but because change requires something terrifying. It requires the death of the old self, the self that was afraid, the self that was small, the self that lived in doubt, hesitation, and compromise. That version of you must die for the new one to emerge. This is what the prophets meant when they spoke of rebirth, not a literal resurrection, but a shedding of everything that is not truly you, a surrender to the higher self that has been waiting for you to step into it. So what does that look like? It means no longer waiting for the perfect moment, no longer seeking permission to step into your power, no longer looking for signs or validation or external proof that you are capable, because you are capable, and you always have been. It means walking through this world differently, moving as someone who already knows they are divine. speaking as someone who understands that their words hold power, thinking as someone who knows their thoughts shape reality, acting as someone who no longer plays small. Because the truth is, your life is not waiting for some outside force to change it. It is waiting for you to change. The moment you stop identifying with the old self, the one that was controlled by fear, doubt, and the illusion of limitation, you step into an entirely new reality. You shift timelines. You become untouchable to the forces that once held you down. This is why those who awaken begin to notice synchronicities, why opportunities seem to arise out of nowhere, why the right people, the right circumstances, the right revelations suddenly begin appearing. It is not magic, it is alignment. It is reality responding to the new frequency you are holding. But make no mistake, this is a journey. The old world will still try to pull you back. The people around you may not understand. Some will resist your growth, because when you change, it forces them to confront the ways in which they have chosen to stay asleep. And that is uncomfortable. But you must not waver, because once you step onto this path, there is no going back. You have seen too much, you have remembered too much, and now the choice is clear. Either embrace your power and create the life you were always meant to live, or continue playing by the rules of a system that was never designed for your freedom. But deep down, you already know the answer. That is why you are here. That is why these words found you. Because you are ready, so go. Walk as one who knows they are free. Speak as one who knows they are powerful. Move through this world as one who has broken the illusion and now sees reality for what it truly is. And watch as everything begins to shift in your favor. Because it will. Because it always does. Because that is the law of the universe. And now you are finally awake enough to use it.